Welcome to this look at a new mod map to console on Farming Simulator 22 with me, MrSealyp. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm here in Dredge Creek, Alaska. This is by Latokulma, 482.66 megabytes download. This has been out a while on PC, but when this got an update the other day, and I know I'm behind, there's been all sorts going on, it's been a busy week, just over a week since FarmCon, just before FarmCon. But the update, changelog 1.0.0.2, was cross-play compatible version, minor fixes to the environment, so new to console. It's 879 slots, which is pretty good anyway. That comes down to 871, so on new farm at 879, farm engine start from scratch 871. We start, interesting, on a little island with an old shelter, which is obviously run down, dilapidated, covered in moss, the coverings missing and that kind of stuff. It's an interesting map, this one. It's a pioneering map, but it does have fields, it does have contracts available. There are no required mods to download automatically or anything like that. There are no custom crops on this one. There is a train that runs to Silver Run Forest, so you can hire the train, load your stuff up, send it off. So if you've got a contract that does that. And this is a kind of Klondike, Alaska gold mining. Now, if you want to just run this as a farming map, you can. If you want to do forestry, you can. This doesn't have productions and stuff built in, but because of the area and the sort of history behind it and that kind of thing, there are quite a few mods that allow for the mining of precious metals, gold, those kind of things. So if you wanted to, you could potentially add those things in and run it like that, if you like. Again, you don't have to. The map looks like this. On New Farmer, we start with the plots just down here. Now, off camera, I went around and bought up loads of plots because there's a plot here, there's a plot here. Any of them look like they've got buildings on that potentially would have productions and those kind of things. I did buy them all up. Top of the map, we've got a sell point which looked like a farm. I thought I'd buy that as well. There's nothing else to be purchased. I mean, like I said, you can buy the land. And talking about land purchases, it's not too expensive at all. Some of the forested areas are a little bit more expensive. What you will find expensive up the top here, the plot that's got the homestead on, which is a sell point, that's expensive. And it's expensive because the people that own the land, if you want to buy them out, it's going to cost you a bit of money to buy them out. But the rest of the land is fairly inexpensive. And the great thing about that being, it's designed to be that you buy yourself a parcel of land and then you clear it, do whatever you want with it, whether it's farming, whether it's forestry, whether it's mining, whatever you decide you want to do is entirely up to you. We do have a periphery, verges of the map, which can be purchased, which purchases all of this, including the town, including the railroad area. So if you want to put in placeables and sell points and anything like that, it gives you option 2, 218,933 to buy farmland 1. Now, like I said, we start up here on this little island, which means we've got to get feet wet. We're going to go across to this little bit here, just have a look. I like the detail of it, and I like that immersion. Again, it depends if you like your history. That kind of whole storyline thing, I think that adds to a map. Anything that has a story is quite cool. So we just wade across. And the area we are in, and it does say it's made up, it's sort of based on bits of America, bits of Canada. It does refer to Klondike, and you'll get that. You'll see that later on. There's little signs and stuff everywhere. You've got areas that look like they have been mined. Now this map does have some gravel and earth that's piled up, which you can utilise. Now that's not utilised for a production. That's just for decorative purposes. That's an addition that I really like. Now I know Giants have talked about FS25 and said about the ground deformation and it not be full digging. I think what needs to be added in more and more, because we've got the ability to use the landscaping tool, and we can dig pits, we can dig quarries, we can make, we can change the ground however we want. But to have earth and gravel and stuff in as a base game thing, that you could then fill that up and make it look like it's just flat, then gives you the ability to dig. I think that would be that's a big thing. So all these bits here where you've got piles of earth, they're all over the place. You can actually use this. You can pick the earth up. Actually, I'll cut to a clip now because I think I did a clip earlier of a pile that we get to later on, just showing me with a wheel loader and a bucket, showing you picking this up. Haven't found one of the gravel piles. That being said, I'm just going to see now. I bet it's down here. So as a kind of, if you wanted to buy this plot of land and run it with any of the mining production mods that are knocking around, it's kind of already good to go. You've got the sort of quarry gravel area. You could fill it up with rock. You know, the possibilities go on. And what I like about this is you've got an old sluice system, whether it be gold or whatever it is they're, you know, mining from here, and the water then comes back down and runs down into the, you know, or they're running pumps out to it. Or, but it's yeah, look, you've got your sluices down here, so the rock goes in. So this is debris crusher. We're just north of where we were at this point here, at the debris crusher. It's not, like I say, not a production. You just put your rock in, but like I say, you can imagine that whole system running. The spoil comes out of there. The water that's been used for the sluice comes back out. Any gold and anything gets caught in the sieves and stuff. Filters in the sluices. It's just really well made. I like the idea behind it. Unfortunately, when you buy these plots of land, you can't get rid of any of the decorative objects. They're kind of here. And while we're talking about decorative objects, we will talk about mods put in by the map maker. We go into build mode and we go along to farmhouses. There aren't many, so we haven't got to worry. Just there. And we've got a farm doormat for sleeping. If we go from there to production and sell points, we've got a couple of sell points out on the end there. So we've got the selling point bales and selling point production. We'll see those later on. If we go from there to decoration and others, we've got the Dredge Creek, Alaska farm barn, which was added in, I think it was in the update just prior to this one, was added in. And then we go from there. I think the only other thing was under landscaping. There are a lot of trees and plants and that kind of thing already on the map, but as far as added in, we've got there under plants, we've got the Dredge Creek, Alaska mod, extra sort of grass texture thrown in. As you can see, larger pile there. And that is all just decorative for, you know, dig it up, use it, you know, whatever you want to do. So what we're going to do from here, I'm going to jump to the farm, our start farm, a new farmer, and then what we'll do is we'll whiz around the map. We'll get around the map. There's some interesting facts and things we'll talk about. So I'm going to jump back there now, and we'll crack on. So I'm here at the farm, the main farm. So we're down at this point here. We have got a sleep trigger. There's no wardrobe trigger at this one. We can't go into the building now. On a new farmer, we've got the sleep trigger. On farm manager and start from scratch, it's the doormat, not the building. So on farm manager and start from scratch, you don't have the sleep trigger, but you can place it. It's in the menu, or a sleep trigger from anywhere in the mod hub. It's up to you. You can't remove this building or the barn next to it. The barn's not accessible. We can't go into it. This is where our pickup is parked. So what we'll do is just whiz along to the rest of our start equipment. I say you might just want to farm the area. Decide, you know, the gold rush days are over in the late 1800s, and I mean, to be fair, they were mining gold in the Yukon, Klondike, all that kind of stuff. Large mining corporations from 1890s, late 1890s through to 1966, I think, was when the last large dredging machines kind of stopped working. Obviously it's been done by hand for many decades and centuries and whatnot, but yeah, the large mining corporations. So just here we have got, on all three game modes, you start with the equipment and machinery. So we've got a harvester and header, we have got a seeder, we've got a cultivator, we just whiz around the back here, we've got a tractor, plough, trailer. There's nothing inside the barn. There are collectibles, there are 12 to collect. I'm going to tell you now, they are gold nuggets. It fits, doesn't it? And they're worth 20 grand each if you come across any. Now again, on farm manager and start from scratch, we didn't have the sleep trigger and you don't have the barn. So the sleep trigger and barn is the difference between the 879 and 871 slot count. If you decide you want to get rid of all the equipment and machinery as well, you can get the slot count down to 808, which is what I did. Now this map is one of those ones that, when you look back on the map here, there aren't a huge amount of sell points and things around the map. It is more about a kind of pioneer it, build it yourself, that kind of thing. It's not littered with stuff, but there are some really cool features. There are little mine entrances in different places. There's creeks and riverbeds and little canyons. There's little rope bridges across different bits. It's one of those maps to explore, and I like that. I like the layout of it. I like the way it's done. We shall head, I say, inland, but There's no animals or animal pens on the map standard, so you'd have to have a look for them if you wanted to. There's a large, massive pile of earth there. I don't know if that's to represent like the gravel, when the Klondike dredges, which we'll see one later on actually, were in operation. They would create their own pond they would float on as they were moving forward, and they would use the riverways and creeks and riverbeds and that kind of stuff. And then all the gravel would come up. We'll explain in a little bit more detail. The gravel would come up, it would all get sieved, go through the trommel, loads and loads of water, then down the sluices. The gold would fall through, the rest wouldn't. The spoil comes out the back, and so that's why I think we've got these large piles of dirt and earth and stuff all over the place, to represent the fact that this operation has been going on for a long time. Just here now, interestingly with this one, we don't have, even with our icons showing, we come around the sides here, this is the animal dealer. There's no animal dealer icon on the ground. There is obviously on the map. When you get to here, it says open animal dialogue. So this is your animal dealer just here, but there's no blue disc on this one. It's a minor thing. And if you've got your help window open top left, when you get to triggers and stuff, it should show up where they all are. We are going to come back this way. I love this sign. There's a few of these signs around. There you go. Homer, Alaska. Halibut fishing, capital of the world. And that's what I thought. We'll come on here, do this map tour just for the halibut. You're welcome. It wouldn't be right if there wasn't a dad joke in. I was going to say farming joke, a dad joke. Gas station just to our left. I'm sorry, I couldn't help it. We come down into sort of the main modern town. This has a real feel of Goldcrest Valley about it because of the style of the buildings and stuff used. To our right, we've got the farm shop sell point. It says farmers market, but farm shop. These buildings and stuff, there are no sell points that side, so we are now here. So we came from here up across the railroad, just to there. Animal dealer, gas station, and we've come along there. So this can all be purchased as part of the verges, the periphery. And like I say, we've got the vehicle shop, we've got a couple of sell points here. But if you wanted to add more sell points and stuff in, where the hotel is and those kind of things, and a lot of them you can change the names of them, you have got the ability to buy the land and add more sell points in to expand the whole experience if that's something you wanted to do. Vehicle shop and vehicle workshop trigger are just here, and this is also the reset point on the map. So if you need to reset, it'll be back here. There are only 2 crossing points on the map, but again there are tons of modded bridges and things. There's nothing to stop you buying the land either side, adding bridges in if that's something you feel like doing. And then around the back here we've got the farmers market wool. Now this is not a spinnery, it is a sell point for wool, but again if you want to add productions in, sell points, those kind of things, you absolutely can. As it stands at the moment, it is just a sell point. Now the other thing I did was purchase this here, because I thought it might be a building. When I drove out to it, there's like a tunnel entrance. I guess it's sort of dug under the railroad, but it's kind of like a mine entrance. So again, not a sell point there, but there are the various different mods, as I said, for precious metals, gold and that kind of stuff. So some of those have quarry outputs. You might want to put a buy anything silo or something, so you could simulate if you wanted to, going to the mine to collect stone, whatever it is. Again, your choice entirely. So we're heading back the way we just came, because that's all the sell points and stuff along there. We have got a crossing point at the river which we're going to go across, which is just here. I like the different changes in terrain, the little riverbeds and creeks and stuff. Because that other large plot that looks like it's got a large building on it is not a large building, it is a Klondike dredge, which you can just see over to the right hand side now. Now unfortunately, because I thought it'd be really cool, not that if it was operational, but I suppose again it's leaving you the option to run it how you want to run it. So if you do want to do something with regard to quarrying, rock, that kind of stuff, you can. If you don't, you don't have to, and then it's not that they're forcing you, they're never forcing you, but it's not in your face kind of thing. So if we hop out here, there you go, a Klondike dredge, and it gives you the information about a Klondike dredge, how they operated. So they would kind of dig and create their own pond, and you see that bit there is the float that it sits on the water, and then all the gravel and stuff, hopefully with gold in it, gets brought up inside, goes through the trommel, then it gets through the sieves and out through the sluices. Water comes out, the large spoil comes out the back on the conveyor belt. Now the only downside I will say with this map is that I think the conversion over from PC, I haven't played on the PC version, I don't know if it's the same on PC, is the texturing on this, it doesn't look great. From a distance it's really cool. That's a Klondike dredge, and that goes down underneath, drags it all up. I think these had, how many buckets? 80 something buckets that hold, was it 800 kilograms of material each, and would rotate round, dig it as it went, go up and drop it inside. I mean, it's just a huge factory that floats and does the jobs it needs to do, which is really, really cool. Like I say, yeah, as you get closer it gets a little bit blurry, and when we get around to the bucket textures and stuff, it just, I don't know if that's a conversion over to console that's done that, or whether that sort of portion of it is like that on PC as well, I don't know. But it's cool having it there, and I can't believe these things were still in operation till the 60s. Well, I suppose if they worked well. They ran on hydroelectric power, that the large companies would have a dam, or they would dam an area. I think they were something like 1,000, just under 1,000 horsepower continuous was required to operate them, unless they were moving booms and swing arms and stuff. But in its normal operation, just under 1,000 horsepower constant operating requirement. It's just fascinating. I love history, I love all that kind of stuff, which is absolutely brilliant. And the fact it's right here, you've got the various different ponds, and that's the beauty of this map. The whole point of it. The only thing I found, I say the only thing, I didn't do much of it, I didn't scour the internet, but there's a place, where was it, Dawson? Is it Dawson City? Dawson? Not Dawson Creek, that's a TV series. Where they've got Dredge number 4, and it's a museum to commemorate the process and that kind of thing. You can actually go there and have tours and stuff. That would be just incredible. Anyway, just like to throw in a bit of extra information while we're going around, why not? I know not everyone's a fan of extra things, extracurricular activities in the farming game, but if you're into diversification and want to try a few different things, just gives you some ideas. Gets the old brain box chugging away, doesn't it? So we're going to pass where we came up from the farm, which is just here, and continue out east. On our right, we're going to come up on the Sawmill. So this is Miller's Sawmill. This is a sell point, again, not a production, but it does have a mill pond. I do like a mill pond. We don't get them as much as we used to. But the first mill pond I ever encountered was on Bjornholm, I think it was, because Bjornholm had one. A few different maps have had them over the years. So we've got the sell point just there, wood chips and things. And then we've got the sell point here. Trigger for selling wood is here, but you can see the trigger out there. So you can roll your stuff into the mill pond. I'm not sure. Obviously, Silver Run Forest had that phenomenal. You dump your stuff into the mill pond, it went up the conveyor, and just absolutely, I love that. Very, very cool indeed. I don't think this crane's not operational. I don't think there's a way of, because we don't have carriages, train carriages with logs that can tip. That would be quite cool. Feature to look at, Giants. Add it in. So things like this with mill ponds, you can bring your logs, and if you could tip the train car that's got the logs in and it go into the mill pond, how cool would that be? But anyway, so mill pond just here. So sell point for lumber and wood chips at Miller's Sawmill. Continuing on, we've got the Sell Point Productions, which is just here, and what also really surprised me, and I wasn't expecting to see it, so Sell Point Productions just here is this. That's an old transit van. Look how cool that was. I haven't seen one of those for years, since I was a kid. Proper old school. To our left, we've got the Sell Point Bales, which is just here. And then if we come around here, we have got the railroad silo. Putting into the silo is done here, so you can use it as just a storage silo or a transfer silo to train if you want to do that. Taking out is done underneath here. And then In or out by train is done here. We just cross over. Up here we've got our rent train point. I love the fact it really does. Oh, that's pretty good timing. It really does have that feeling that yeah, it's all kind of run down now. It's the heyday's gone. There's lots of stuff that's rusted, the pylons, the buildings, all that kind of stuff. So you can get your train, load it all up. Actually, what I will do, it should just be regular railroad silo related goodies, but we'll have a look. Just to see if there's anything in addition that can be transported by train or sold. If we stop there and start filling, it should be standard. Oh, you can do dirt. So I haven't found any of that anywhere. Concrete, dirt, vegetal, cement. See, I'm puzzled now because this is all the stuff it's showing you can do: asphalt, gravel, wheat. But I'm wondering if that's left over from the PC version. Because what I'm going to do, I'm going to let the train go. If we go into build mode and go to production, there are no factories added in. So all of those things lead me to think there's, you know, there are mining related factories, buildings, things around the map that could be utilised, but there aren't. Not on the console version, at least. And I've bought, like I say, I bought up all the various different plots, including the town area here. I did that off camera. That's part of the periphery. No other sell points come up, no other productions, nothing else at all. So the fact that it takes all of those other products makes me think that's from PC, maybe. There I go. But as I said, what's very cool is that element of the fact the town's kind of a bit run down now, a bit dilapidated, a bit overgrown. In its heyday would have housed hundreds if not thousands of workers, possibly their families as well, working for the large corporations. That overgrown little park area. It's got a bit of a Pripyat feel to it, which I think is quite cool as well. All the old lodging houses and stuff shuttered up, maybe the old restaurants, and so you got the newer town a bit further over, and this is kind of the older bit. I don't know, I like it. Let's go and grab the pickup, and we shall continue our journey. If I can remember where I left it. Oh yeah. So back out to the road. We're going to go across the river on the other crossing. The second crossing, should I say. Just here. I'm starting to wonder now whether anything in the crossover onto console, whether it's been left out. I'm reading through the description, it doesn't really... It talks about crop textures, custom saw map, custom crop calendar, extra field types like dirt and gravel, their purpose is only decorative. So what I'm going to check as well. Let's go down to our prices. And we'll go down to the bottom and see if we've got any of these other things. No stones. I was just thinking whether it had dirt and gravel and those kind of things. Because the fact the train takes them is curious. But there's no sell point for them. And actually, look at that. Let's go back up until we get to some of the other stuff. Oh yes, Silver Run Forest. I was going to say, if there's nothing that sells to Silver Run Forest, that's really peculiar because that's where the train goes. But yeah, there are some things that do. Go wild with your productions, that's where the best bet. The other thing as well I thought was cool, and I could be wrong on this, there's a little strip coming up. Again, I purchased the land just to try it because I was curious. I wonder if it's an old airstrip. Can you imagine having that coming to game? Crop dusters. How cool would that be? Especially on the larger maps, do a bit of that. Anyway, so this is kind of, it's fenced off. Let's get the lights on. The fact is, on the map, it's a long straight section. You can imagine there being like a little hangar space maybe here for the old bush planes, those kind of things. This long strip that runs along here, look bottom left on the map, whether it was an old runway for bush planes to bring supplies in and out. I have no idea, but it has that feel to it. We cut back through here, back to the road. We're going to come past where most of the contract fields are, because they are just here. again, which can be purchased if you want. Got a couple of buildings. No sell points or anything on those either. I did buy the plots of land up just to double check. And then we're heading up to the northeast of the map. And now this is another cool feature. It took me by surprise. It reminded me of something that I hadn't thought about for a very, very long time. Myself and MrSealyp used to watch various different series in Alaska, and we talked for a long time about selling up and moving to Alaska. Just that kind of lifestyle, log cabins, and you know, I know it's a harsh place to live and it's not easy, and you know, but it always kind of really, I like my bushcraft stuff, and I thought it'd be really, really cool. So we watched Railroad Alaska and all these different Alaskan programs, and there was a program called The Last Frontier. So we've got a watchtower up here. I'm not going to do, but I would just say this: if you were potentially looking for something that might be collectible, I mean, you might want to come and have a look here. You know, potentially, I'm not going to show it, but yeah. So the series was called The Last Frontier, and it was about a family called the Kilcher family. Now I'm sure they were Scandinavian, it might have been Dutch, but who came out to the US, was it in the 50s or 60s? Anyway, moved out to Alaska, and the series is about the Kilcher family and their farmstead, homestead, and the things they do, and then building new barns and buildings and doing various different things. They've got animals, cattle, and they do like a cattle drive up the side of the lake. The only way they can get to the fertile grounds that the cattle can graze on in the spring and summer months is up the side of a lake. When you have the winter melts and stuff like that, the level comes up so high you can't go backwards and forwards, and it's fascinating to watch. It was really, really cool. And they have to have people, they have these little cabins and stuff, shelters, and you stay up there to look after the animals because they get attacked by wolves and all sorts, and bears and stuff like that. Really cool. So this, when it popped up, reminded me of all of that, and the series that I hadn't watched in such a long time. So the sell point just there, if we go back up to our map, we've come all up here, it's the Kilcher homestead. It was that kind of bam, but I just hadn't thought about it in years. Very, very cool, and their house was very much like that as well. I'm kind of in the process of construction, and they've been there a long time, but it's that constant build, rebuild, add, you know, loved it. Anyway, that's the Kilcher homestead, sell point. We follow this down here, it follows a little sort of riverbed creek, and the little riverbed itself stays quite shallow and quite small. Got one to the right there, one to the left just over here, and it opens up into a little canyon, and there's a bridge going across, and so a map for exploration. The larger areas out here which you might want to put fields and stuff on, you can either do agroforestry and put your fields in and around all the trees, or if you want to, clear the trees out completely and have big old fields if that's something that you fancy doing. So as you can see, it comes down there, a little creek, drops into this open basin here, and when it goes back up the other side, it's almost like a little pond, lake, and then you've got a little crossing over here. It's all these little features, it's just nice little stuff that's added in. Yeah. I mean, you can walk around this, I'm not, but maybe it went on and on in years gone by and this was the only crossing point, but nice. And then what we'll do, we'll take a drive round back past where we started at that little kind of wash plant area. It's that kind of cross between, is it called Gold Mining Simulator now? It was Gold Rush, wasn't it, originally? I played a bit of that a while back. That's what it reminded me of, all the trommels and the sluices and all the stuff you had to add on and build, and your power plants. And so Farming Simulator meets Gold Rush, but over here we come round to these trees. There's a lovely little lake out just here, and there's a little cabin down by the lake if you wanted to make that your farm start home. It's very picturesque as well. So the turning that took us to there where we started is just up there, and as I said, all the pylons are looking a little bit rusted, a little bit weathered, shall we say. Swinging around, we'll come past some more homes and things in a moment, then back down towards the river, where I took that little video clip. Oh, I meant to say I did take a picture of the farm barn, what it looks like if you took the farm barn off and the build and all the start machinery, but you can imagine it's not like when you've got large farm areas and you take all the buildings out and it looks vastly different. I mean, it's just literally the barn's different, that's all. I have got actually 3 more map tours I need to do, because 3 dropped the other day, and there was one that dropped from ER Shaba that was before I went away to FarmCon, which is over a week old now. I just had no time. I had no time to do it, so I will be getting on to other map tours. Might do a couple over the weekend as well. Maybe 2 tomorrow, maybe 1 on Sunday. I'm just trying to. I will catch up with them all. The map tours will all come. If you are waiting for my map tour, I appreciate your patience. Thank you very much. Got a windmill just here. And then we've got some more areas here that, if you can imagine, in days gone by had previously had, as you can see, some kind of operation. Another large pile of earth. Like I said, unfortunately, when you buy the land, you can't get rid of the decorative objects, but there aren't that many. I've lost the trackway. Oh no, it's here. There we go. And again, these little creeks and riverbeds everywhere. If we carry on back along here, we're going to come back to the junction that takes us back across the river. And that is the map. That's all the sale points. That's, say, all the features. Like I said, there's a lot more of the map to explore. There's some cool little bits, like I said, little mine shaft entrances and stuff like that all over the place. Plenty to be looking for. And obviously there are the collectibles, the gold nuggets to go and find if you want to improve your finances in some way. Dredge Creek, Alaska by Latokulma. I hope you found this useful and informative in some way, shape or form. If you have, please give us a like. If you don't subscribe yet, please do. If you want to leave a comment, feel free. And if you want to share this video, then please be my guest. Whatever you should choose to do. Thanks for watching.